Hi, today I'm answering a question about whether or not you can make a flight delay compensation claim or an EU flight delay compensation claim relating to Canadian Airlines. Now, Canadian Airlines is a non-EU operated airline. Of course, it operates out of Canada, but they are still, they still come within the bounds of the law. However, they will only be responsible or required to make compensation claims for Canadian airline flights departing from a UK airport. They will not be required to compensate you for a Canadian airline flight that departs from anywhere outside an EU airport. And that arrives back to the UK or in an EU airport for that matter. So that's the difference between a non-EU operated airline and an EU operated airline. So as long as the flight departed from the UK or any EU airport, then you will be able to make a claim, and as long as it's delayed by more than 3 hours, you can. The other thing that you've got to think about is whether or not it was the fault of Canadian Airlines. If, for example, the crew were ill, the pilot turned up late, there was a technical fault with the aircraft, those are deemed to be the fault of the airline. However, and of course this is only fair, it wouldn't be the fault of Canadian Airlines if there was a bird strike on that aircraft, if there was a volcano erupting which caused them to delay the aircraft, or what's more likely is bad weather, so snow, fog bound, hurricanes, storms and the like. That's not the fault of the airline, and that's only fair to say. So in those cases, if the delay was caused by something out of the power or control of the airline, you wouldn't be due compensation. And in this case, you wouldn't be able to make a claim against the Canadian Airlines. The final criteria that affects the amount of compensation you would get from Canadian Airlines is the distance travelled from your departure airport through to the destination airport. The first milestone is 1,500 kilometres, and then the next one being 3,500 kilometres. And the distance travelled, or the distance of the flight, would depend upon the amount of compensation, which ranges from €250 all the way through to €600, and that's per person. So if in your party you had two people, the couple travelling, then you would be entitled to double that. So in the maximum case, you'd be entitled to €1,200, which is probably around about £1,080 at today's exchange rate. So something well worth thinking about and claiming for. Now, to make a claim against Canadian Airlines, of course, you're going to have to write to them, and you'll have to provide them with evidence of your boarding, so a boarding card will be useful, or some sort of electronic confirmation of your flight. But you need to obviously prove to them that you were actually on that flight. So a boarding card is always the best thing. When you write to them, you'll have to make sure that you follow that up, because not all airlines want to be able to have to pay this out. Most are good, but you have to know what you're doing. And that leads on to the second option, is that you get someone else to do it. Someone that's professional, someone that's doing this day in, day out. Most companies provide a service of no win, no fee. There's a link below, as it happens, to a company that operates this particular service on a no win, no fee basis. So they only get paid when you get paid. So it's in their interest, obviously, to make sure that the claim in this case is successful. When the claim is successful, the money gets paid straight into your bank. So you don't have the hassle, you don't have to write any complicated letters, and of course it speeds up the process so you get your money faster. So the choice is yours at the end of the day. If you do have any questions, pop them down in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to answer those. And if you do have a claim, good luck with that. And don't forget that you can make a claim anything up to 6 years prior. So if you've only just been made aware of this legislation and the fact that you can make a claim, you can go back to make that claim. And good luck with that.